Hey Cloud Gamers, Assassin's Creed Valhalla has launched, so we thought we'd have a look at the game across the top cloud gaming platforms. Thank you to Maximum Settings for providing us a key to test the PC versions, and do check out the Discord if you're watching this before Friday the 13th to enter the giveaway for an Assassin's Creed key on any platform of your choice. Special shout out also to Project Storm for helping us with the Stadia Chromecast footage. Do check out his channel in the link below. As we go through the cutscene here, you can see how much of a difference even just the streamers make. The brightness levels and gamma levels have been left at the default to see if we could get a good balance across the board here. However, you can see that Google Stadia and GeForce NOW are still looking a little bit darker than the virtual PCs of Shadow PC and Maximum Settings. We'd have to hazard a guess at what settings Google Stadia is running at, but we can definitely see that it's 30 frames per second compared to the others here. GeForce NOW is running the 2080D rig. All of the rigs are set to high with motion blur and depth of field turned off, except for Stadia, which we don't have any control over. You can see that this is a very GPU intensive game. You can see both the Shadow PC and Maximum Settings rigs staying up in the 90% and in the high 90% for Shadow PC especially. This is the reason why I've dropped these settings down to high, because otherwise you get some massive frame dips and it really does make the gameplay quite stuttery. As we're moving around though, generally everything looks fairly similar across the board, so Google Stadia is probably running at a combination of medium to high. And as we do the synchronization up here, we really do see that 30 frames per second on Google Stadia versus the others. You can see that motion is nowhere near as smooth as the other three. But as you look over the mountains, you can definitely see that Maximum Settings has an advantage. But also Google Stadia does seem to do that long distance a little bit nicer. Google Stadia has definitely got a higher contrast here. And this will probably be because of the Chromecast Ultra with the VP9 codec versus the others using H.264. As we come across to Google Stadia on its own, you can see that that draw distance is very good on Stadia, and again we can see that 30 frames per second as we're moving around. Still performing very well, and definitely looks like a combination of medium to high on the graphics. A little bit of graphics pop in there, but overall looking pretty good. As we come back down, the contrast on the rocks here does look pretty impressive. And moving over to GeForce NOW. A little bit of a stutter as we come off the top of the synchro point there. Again we see that draw distance looking very crisp. As we come into the snow, we seem to have a bit more snow effects on the boots than we did on Stadia. But we can see that it's a bit smoother as we're moving around, so it definitely seems to be pushing that 60 frames per second mark. A little bit of stutter there from GeForce NOW, but generally it's okay. As we come into the higher contrast section of the camp with the shadows, you can see a little bit of blurriness on the character model itself, but otherwise everything else is looking crisp and clean. The lighting shifts about in this game quite a lot, so a lot of this does become quite apparent quite quickly. So we move over to the Shadow PC version. Again, you can see that GPU sitting at over 95% most of the time. And this is a bit of a problem, especially on Shadow, as it's streaming, that if it does start capping out, it does disrupt the stream. As we come down the mountain here again, although we have those same settings, it does look a little bit crisper than the GeForce NOW version.
One of Kjotve's men. I need to be careful.
and very smooth still. Although you see some strange effects there from the guy getting shot by the arrow.
This place is heavily guarded.
As we come into the camp, we switch over to maximum settings. So even though maximum settings is running on high as well, we are getting a bit better frame rate, and it does look slightly better on those rocks as well, which is strange considering it's running the same settings, but that will be the Moonlight streamer for you over the Shadow PC. As we run down the hill, everything's still looking very smooth. Seem to see those weather effects a little bit more prominently on the maximum settings one, but this could just be a slight difference in time of day.
One of Kjotve's men. I need to be careful.
Again, coming into the camp looking very clear. Really not much in it between the three on the high settings, although maximum settings does seem a lot more fluid. As we go back side by side, Google Stadia has a bit of a blue tinge here, but again this could be a slight different time of day effect. It's very difficult to match the time of day etc. up on this sort of game because everything is shifting. But as we see the Raven there, you definitely see the 30 frames per second on Stadia, which is a surprise for Stadia really, considering GeForce NOW and Shadow PC can hold over 60 frames per second on high. You would have thought that Stadia would have been able to do the same. We'll do a 4K comparison shortly on the Chromecast Ultra, maximum settings, and also the Series X, and you'll see those differences once again. 4K really challenging the systems on Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments which one you think looks best and which one you're going to be playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla on, if at all. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all the latest across all cloud gaming platforms, and I will see you next time.